Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or if you're listening to this on Substack, welcome to you as well. Today, I'm going to be reading chapter 4 of The Lace Makers. We're going to return to Karin's story. And unlike Emerald's, Karin's story flashes back and forth in time. And today, in this chapter, we're going to learn a little bit more about her family and her family's history in Nazi Germany before she was taken and placed into a concentration camp. I'd like you to really listen and pay attention to the details of what happened with Karin's family, because as I've said in previous videos, our world has a long history but a short memory. And the more we learn about what happened in the past, the less likely we are to tolerate what's happening in our present moment, and we can do something about it to help future generations. So thank you for listening, and let's begin with chapter 4. It's past time for Appellplatz, but the loudspeakers are still silent. I wonder if roll call will be held since most of the barracks have been emptied. Thousands of half-dead men and women are lined up like cattle and surrounded by SS guards with rifles who threatened to shoot them if they couldn't keep up on the forced march, if they complained about the cold, if they stumbled or leaned on each other for support. I've seen Nazis kill prisoners for less than that. The loudspeakers hover over us like metal slave masters, barking orders from morning until night. Yesterday morning, one of the guards angrily shouted, "Alle Untermenschen aufstehen! Alle Schweine schnell zu marschieren, oder du wirst erschossen!" Meaning, all subhumans get up. All pigs will march quickly, or you will be shot. Simka and I ran from the barrack to the cookhouse, where her friend Vitya shoved us into the pantry and hissed, "Make no noise!" Simka and I crouched on the floor and held our breath, waiting for the sound of steam whistles in the distance to let us know the trains were finally leaving. "We'll be killed if they find us," Simka whispered as I wrapped my arm protectively around her. I shook my head, said nothing. While the SS were storming the barracks, Muti told me that I must hide, that I must help Simka. I must do it because I am Henry Vogel's daughter, and I must be brave like him. But Muti didn't have to feel her heart leaping wildly in her chest while she pressed her face to her friend's cheek, not knowing how long she had to live. She didn't have to feel her bladder filling to overflowing and her mouth become as dry as dust. We were discovered by an SS officer later that day, but our lives were spared because I am Kapitan Dieter's concubine, and on his direct orders I am never to be harmed. Once more, he has saved my life and the life of someone I love. But staying alive seems like a never-ending atonement for an innocent choice I made long ago, one which led to an accidental betrayal and the horror of everything that followed. This next section takes place in November 1938. It's a cold, clear night as I stand staring out the picture window in our living room while Vati and Muti argue in the kitchen. Their hushed, angry voices twist into each other while smoke billows into the sky from the synagogue up the street. Orange and copper flames burst from the windows beneath the Star of David, and I wonder, is Herr Zweig safe? Is he still alive? Yesterday, the SS arrested him at the theater while he and Vati were working in their office. They forced him, along with all the Jewish men from our neighborhood, to walk to the synagogue, all the while mocking them, calling them Jewish swine. The streets were lined with people shouting ugly things as well. Faulen Juden, Untermenschen, rotten Jews, subhumans. Since then, we haven't seen or heard from Herr Zweig or any of the other men. Frau Zweig is locked in her home with her younger boys, but Heinrich, the oldest, ran to our house just an hour ago to tell us that the synagogue was set on fire by the angry mob. While my parents quarrel in the next room, he slumps in a chair by the fire, cracking his knuckles and nervously bouncing his leg. I don't know what to say when tears fall down Heinrich's cheeks. He tries to hide them, but it's too late. I've never seen a boy my age cry before, and it frightens me. To spare Heinrich, I turn my head and watch the synagogue burn, watch the flames and smoke rise higher into the darkening sky. As night falls, neither of us speaks, for we both know that when morning comes, nothing will ever be the same. Henry, we can't, Muti cries. I hear her voice through the thin wall between our bedrooms. They've been arguing all night long, and even though sunlight slowly filters into my room, nothing has been resolved. Heinrich tosses and turns on the couch downstairs while my parents decide his fate. He didn't leave last night, as we all know it wasn't safe for him to walk home in the dark. Now I wonder why it's so difficult for my mother to ensure his future safety. You cannot ask me to put the children's lives at risk, Muti insists. But what about Heinrich and Georg and Fritz? Vati encounters. Don't their lives matter? And what about Sharon? What about hers? What do you think Leonard would do if he were in my place? Muti is silent for once. I'm not asking you to hide them here, Vati continues. There's space in the theater's dressing rooms. Heinrich and I can build a false wall. Sharon and the boys will be safe there until this madness is over. Why didn't they just leave when they had the chance? Muti sobs. They could have gone to America to live with Sharon's sister. By the time Leonard applied for visas last year, the immigration laws had changed. You know that. Vati's voice is calm and clear. Leonard never believed the Germans would take it this far. He always said he's a German first, a Jew second, as loyal to his country as the next man. Well, the next man has been issuing warnings for years, Muti argues. Vati interrupts her. Leonard is a loyal friend, and I would do anything for him, anything. He took a chance to open the theater when Karen was just a baby, and we had next to nothing. Muti bursts into tears. But what does that matter when you've put all our lives in jeopardy? Josephine, Josephine, Vati says softly. I cannot let Sharon and the boys risk deportation. I've heard what happens when people are loaded into cattle cars. I've heard those gruesome stories passed around school like notes hidden behind the teacher's back. Listening to my father now, I know for certain that I'm just like him. I'm not a coward like my mother, who wants to save our skins, who would let the Nazis take Heinrich and his family away. But then I hear something in her voice, a whimper followed by an agonizing cry that sounds like a wounded animal. But my papa's mother, Muti cries. I'm a Mischling, mixed blood. Josephine, don't worry, Vati replies. There's no record. I made sure of that. Großmutter was a Jew, Muti wails, and that means I'm part Jewish, and so is Karen and... Hush now, Vati says soothingly. No one will know. I will tell no one. You will tell no one. Because you are an only child, there are no brothers and sisters who can tell. Your Muti and Papa are both dead, God rest their souls. And Karen doesn't know, so she can't tell either. I'm not sure what it means to be a Mischling. Am I Jewish or am I Christian? Frau Zweig would often invite me to the Shabbat, and one evening she told me that the Jewish line is in the soul, not the body. She explained that it is passed down through the mother because babies are conceived in them, born from them, and their little souls are shaped more by their mothers than their fathers. I'm thankful there's no Jewish bloodline the Nazis can trace, and yet I feel utterly ashamed of myself as well. I love Herr and Frau Zweig. Their sons are like my brothers, but I don't want to be taken to a place from which no one returns. I don't want to be persecuted for simply being born as I am. Perhaps I'm just like Muti after all. I hear her sniffle and blow her nose. But what if... There is no what if, Vati says calmly. There is only what is, and what is now will not change. Sooner or later, the SS will come to Sharon's home and take her and the boys away. I cannot let that happen. If Leonard returns, I want him to find his family safe. Muti says nothing, and I think the argument is over. But after a moment, she snaps. How do you know they won't find them in the theater and then come here to kill us all? My heart pounds when I hear the sharp edge in her voice. All I know is I have to help my friend, Vati replies sadly. I have to take care of his family. But what about our family, Muti cries. What about us? We are all family, Josephine, Vati says insistently. We are all part of God's family. Shortly before sunrise, Vati drives to the theater with Heinrich safely hidden in the trunk. Then he will go to Frau Zweig's home as soon as he can bring her, Georg, and Fritz to the safety of the theater. They're going to sleep in the office until Vati can build the false wall that he says will only take a few days. Muti and I hurriedly pack a picnic basket filled with bread, fruit, and a few brats before I have to leave for school. I pour some milk into a thermos and fill another one with hot coffee. In a big cardboard box, Muti and I stack clean sheets, some blankets, and a few hand towels. I tuck in a stuffed toy, a few of my old storybooks for Georg and Fritz, and a copy of my dog-eared The Sword and the Stone for Heinrich. Muti makes me promise to be silent about what Vati is doing, to stay away from the theater unless I am with my father, to attend Jungmädel meetings and be a good girl in school. She makes me promise that I will never call attention to myself and risk questioning of any kind. Soon Jorgen wanders into the kitchen. His blue eyes are still sleepy, and his soft blonde hair sticks up all over his head like little tufts of fluff. Eyeing the basket, he asks, "Where are we going?" "Nowhere," Muti says. "But I want to go on a picnic," Jorgen whines. Muti shakes her head. "Not today, Liebling." "But when?" "Maybe tomorrow. Now be a big boy and help your sister." Jürgen rubs his eyes, grinning at me. I tousle his hair. "You're my big boy too, yes?" "Ja, natürlich." Yes, of course. "Well, big boy, help me carry this box to the carport." "Why?" "Because Vati needs it." I try to smile as I tuck a chocolate bar inside one of the towels to surprise Heinrich. I cannot tell Jürgen about the Zweigs. He's too little to keep a secret, and we can't be sure he won't tell the neighbors by mistake, especially Frau Roth, who pompously displays a Nazi flag in her front window and brags about how every one of her boys proudly wears the SS uniform. Jürgen pulls on my sleeve. "What does Vati need it for?" "For his friends." "Are they going somewhere?" "Yeah, a great adventure," I tell him. "Can I come too?" I shake my head. "Nein, Jürgen, we'll have our own adventures, but not right now. You have to wait until you grow up a bit." Jürgen pushes the hair from his eyes. "Karin, can I come to school with you?" "Why?" "Because I want to learn my letters so I can read about adventures until I'm big enough to have them myself." I hand Jürgen a bright green sweater I had knitted for his birthday last spring. "If you help me take these things to the carport, I'll teach you your letters today when I come home." As Jürgen pushes his arms into the sweater, his face pops through the neck. He looks up at me and grins. "Karin, ich liebe dich einfach." Karin, I just love you. Tears fill my eyes as I begin to understand what my mother must be feeling. Jürgen is more than my brother. He's my wenig Schatten, my little shadow, and I cannot imagine my life without him. And now the last scene takes place in the concentration camp. Now, as I gaze out the cloudy window that's coated with ashes, I see children mill around the yard nearby, their tiny bodies swimming in filthy, threadbare striped pajamas, clothes that were once worn by men who have died from starvation and typhus and dysentery. Barbed wire surrounds the children in a gruesome playground only Nazis could invent. Several boys dig holes in the dirt with their bare hands. Two girls stand with their arms around each other and press their faces together, trying to stay warm. Many of them sit huddled on the cold, dank earth, hungry and hopeless. Simca presses a fist to her stomach and winces in pain. The lace in her other hand quivers on the needles. She looks to me, and I lift my brows as if to ask, "Are you all right?" She nods and tries to smile, tries to be brave, but we're both terrified. We know what happens to babies born in the camps and to their mothers. As my hands work mindlessly, my eyes scan the yard, hoping to see Jorgen among the children. And then I remind myself that it's not wise to imagine the impossible, because here I am, still alive, while my little brother's ashes have long since floated like angel wings high above the earth and through the gates of heaven. Thank you for listening to Chapter 4 of The Lace Makers. If you're interested in learning more about this book, I will include links to a YouTube playlist that I have with more videos available. Please feel free to share this post with family, with friends, with anyone who would be interested in learning more about this novel. And again, I thank you for listening. Take care.